Good afternoon. I'm Jesse Reiser, a principal at Reiser and Umemoto RUR Architecture in New York. And this is my partner, Nanako Umemoto.
Hi, how are you? It was 2020. We were there for the pre-opening of Taipei Music Center. Main hall was almost there, but industrial shell wasn't. Just the structural system was there and no schemes. And Cube was half done.
No, it was really a site in transition. We were there for the rehearsal opening of the main hall, and there was enormous amount of activity. It was very exciting, but the sense was that you were clearly, in a construction site, in a project that was in progress.
Yeah, it's quite different. We thought, especially the main hall is really well done. Construction is really followed our drawings, and there is no difference from our design and also finished product. Bridge was sort of half the concrete finish, but the other side is steel, so that was really funny things. It was fine when you see it as a whole thing.
I mean, if you're asking about our recent visit, the experience was really night and day. I mean, to go back a little bit, we have been working on the TMC, very closely with our local architect, Fei and Chang, and of course, all of the people who work at the TMC. So it's been a very long and sometimes arduous process, working through the various schemes, seeing how it might develop and then how it did develop. But going to the project now, which is no longer a project, it's part of the world, part of the city, it was just amazing. We had to in a way give up the baby that we've been nurturing for the past 12 years. So there was a sense of joy and also a kind of sense of sadness that, the building is out of our hands and, with the city of Taipei and its people.
But I think it's smart that music center people brought for the retail area, the musical instruments, showrooms, many different places, and also many different companies, and also they brought the repair shop for the trumpet and other things, which was very interesting to see, because we thought they are going to bring restaurants and cafes and things like that. But as a Taiwan culture, they have a night market, so they can simultaneously bring these vendors for the event, or they didn't need to bring these shops in the retail areas.
Yeah, the retail area was really a surprise. I mean, we hadn't really expected, how it would develop and how carefully the site has been programmed in terms of all the commercial spaces. I mean, we expected, of course, a lot of interest in the industry shell and the museums and of course the performance spaces, but we assumed that those commercial and retail spaces would simply be let out, but that they got themed so carefully in relation to the subject of music had completely escaped our minds. Really didn't expect that at all. So it was great. I mean, even the vintage record store, all of those things really fit, and we could see that the public was excited to be there, and they were using both those spaces but all the spaces around the music center as well. So it's really great.
I think it's a whole, when you look at each building, it's really well done, and also the program they brought really works. But as a whole, simultaneously, when each space or each event space happen, it's sort of harmonize everything, and it's it works really well.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because, of course, as designers, we, focus in on, buildings more or less as objects. But then, yeah, going there, once it gets sort of the architecture becomes a part of everyday life, it's really hard to put your finger on, what you like best. I mean, it was, super enjoyable to go to the main hall, to see the architecture, to see the people using it. And in a way, a kind of sense that, you were just enjoying the place almost as a non-architect, that you could kind of forget all of your obsessions and your focus and just take in the atmosphere of the music center. Way beyond.
Yeah.
You sort of rehearse thinking about how the building may get finished and how it may go into the city. As architects, we have to speak about the TMC and talk about public engagement and so forth. But it's entirely another thing to actually see it happen. All of your expectations get thrown out the window. There are surprises every second visiting the TMC.
Yeah. Since we have 3 buildings and also the one outdoor theater area the audience is going to use, but in fact, they are finding an area that they can work in different way, like a back of their cube. Citizen of Taipei is using for installation of artworks, and also they do some small event. And then in the landscape, also they use these inflatable sculptures. Some people individually come there to use a film of their own image. So, which is very interesting. We never saw that kind of thing happen.
Well, we won the competition quite a long time ago. So social media hadn't really come, into the fore until a couple of years in. And then we had certain expectations about the visibility of the music center, probably, closer to a kind of televisual idea of how the place would be used. But, so many groups and people are kind of engaging the space. And, we did, of course, argue for a fully public place, not, kind of privatized public space, but a really public space. And indeed, it has happened, but, way beyond what we first thought about. So, we couldn't be happier.
And I'm sure next time when we go back there, since Taiwan is a tropical climate, all trees and bushes will be grown really high and also full. It will be interesting to see this growth of vegetation.
So, a living place, blown away even by the chocolate event that we happened upon in the Hall of Fame cube. And it was working too. It wasn't, strictly themed to music, but it was engaging and fun and, clearly a part of the life of Taipei.
Yeah, that was a big surprise because we thought it's like a museum. It's sort of quiet place, but actually each floor have a really different kind of event, and people are using this event space in a different way.
And I have to say, we mainly designed the main public spaces and, of course, the exterior architecture. But I think the exhibition on the history of Taiwanese music, really well done. The installation in the space was really excellent. Personally gratified, that the designers who were taken on were good, and they really, knew their subject matter and presented it. So I learned something visiting our building. Bye for now from New York. We can't wait to come back to Taipei again. Bye-bye.